What's going on YouTube? Splice Citrus here, back with another Genshin Impact video. And today a new event just released, the Battlefront Misty Dungeon. So I figured I would take the time and walk you guys through and make sure you guys don't miss anything. Anyway, so every few days we're going to get some more trials. Right now we've got the Plunging trial and the Healing trial unlocked. We got melee, range, shield, and then elemental here at the end. So yeah, the name of the trial should be pretty indicative of what you're trying to accomplish. So first and foremost, event guidelines. You can read this all if you want. Each one has a different leyline disorder, so each trial you do has its own buffs. Furthermore, you do not get elemental resonances, so don't try to build a party thinking that, well, I'm going to go in the healing trial and I am going to use 2 water characters to increase healing by 15%. Doesn't work like that. Furthermore, they do have a group of characters that you can pick from. You cannot use anything else. You can only use the provided characters that are already geared up. You can't change any of their gear. However, if you own the character and you have additional constellations for that character in your own personal team, the characters in this trial will adopt those constellations of the characters that you actually own. So use that to your advantage. This is also kind of a fun way to test out other characters. Kaching is in here, Albedo. You can try out Beidou if you want. But let's take a look at the Plunging trial. So here we've got 5 different activities to complete. You can complete them at your discretion. However, you do get the Primo Gems just for completing the Plunging trial once, so if you really don't care about the rest of these resources, then just don't do the challenges. But it's not too difficult, and furthermore, it's a little bit easier if I look at the healing trial. This right here, for example, heal a total of 50,000 HP during the healing trial, as well as using elemental bursts to defeat 10 opponents in the healing trial. These stack. You don't have to do them in a single run. Same thing with this one. You don't have to do you don't have to defeat 8 opponents with a plunging attack in a single run. You could spread this out over 8 runs, you could do 20 runs, whatever it takes you. So don't feel demoralized, or don't feel like you have to build your party a specific way, or that metric should be your primary concern. Unless that's what you're really shooting for, then by all means. But they do stack, so feel free to take 2 or 3 runs, whatever it ends up taking you, to complete that objective. So, let's see. Let's go back into the Plunging trial. If we go to the challenge, we can see here when a plunging attack hits an opponent, each opponent hit will increase the attack of all the characters in your party by 6% for 30 seconds for a maximum of 60%. Furthermore, all party members' plunging attack damage is increased by 120%. So for this one, for example, you're definitely going to want to bring Albedo because he's got the elevator ability. You throw down his E, you stand on the flower for a couple of seconds, it lifts you up, and then you can plunge attack. Also, Kaching, if you hold her E, you can actually aim it up in the air a little ways, and then you press E again to teleport to it, and then you can use a plunging attack to come plummeting down. Furthermore, in this particular Misty Dungeon, there are also those Anemo eggs, or Anemo stones, whatever, they're egg-shaped stones, with the animal symbol on them. So, of course, breaking those stones is going to create a wind current. Use that to your advantage. Don't break both of them immediately. Break one, use it to your advantage, go break the other to finish the rest of the opponents off, gaining as much of that attack buff as you possibly can. So like I said, these two characters should definitely be a staple in your party in this one. Everybody else, like I said, use it to your advantage. If you've got a C6 Noelle like I do, throw her in there because she absolutely wrecks. She's really nice. Let's take a look at the healing one. Oh, and by the way, as a side note here, these are your list of enemies that you will encounter inside of this Misty Dungeon. So also take that into consideration when building your party. So this one, like I said too, also has its own 5 objectives. Once again, you get the Primo Gems just for completing it. So if you just absolutely hate what's going on here, then just do it once just for the Primo Gems. Everything else, if you don't care, if you don't want the more XP materials, talent materials, etc., then don't do it. But the Primo Gems, certainly worth it. If we go into the challenge, this Healing Trials Leyline Disorder, when an active character's HP is greater than 90%, you immediately deal an additional 50% damage. So keeping your characters topped off is going to benefit you greatly. Furthermore, when an active character regenerates HP, they will regenerate 3 energy for all characters in your own party, and this effect can be triggered every 1.5 seconds. So you're going to be able to use your Elemental Burst, your Q ability, very frequently if you're consistently healing your party. Now, the mobs in this area, in this game type, don't actually hit particularly hard. I know it can feel, especially for the plunging one, you might want to bring these shield characters. Actually, Noelle has a shield as well. You can pop her E, she's got a shield. Xinyan has a shield on her E, and so does Diona. And I would honestly leave these characters out of your party for the healing trial, particularly if you're trying to get that 50,000 HP regenerative. But having maybe just one in your party just to keep your HP above 90% for that 50% DPS increase could also benefit you quite a bit. But I found that just running Barbara in your team and just using her E ability as necessary kept my characters healed up plenty to keep that DPS buff active. So for this particular healing trial, obviously you're going to want to bring Barbara for the healing capacity. I think Noelle has some passive healing abilities in her kit, but honestly Noelle is really the only one with any direct heals here. Or, excuse me, Barbara. But why don't we go ahead and we will put a team together here real quick. And we can just jump right in. And we can take a look at what's going on inside these Misty Dungeons. Alright, so as you enter the arena here, we are going to see this pedestal. Now, this is not one of the ancient runes. That is actually a buff pedestal. So if you're trying to get the timed challenge, you're just going to want to find these red beams, and you're going to want to knock those out as quickly as possible. So we're going to go ahead and skip that. You can also find random little buffs laying across the map. That's a movement speed buff. Here's another one of those buff pedestals. You can complete that. You'll get a buff for the remainder of the trial. And just for demonstration's sake, let's go ahead and do that. This particular healing trial has a lot of these Whopper flowers. I don't personally use Beto during regular play. I do have her unlocked. I think I have her at C2 thanks to the current banner. There's a trap right there, by the way. That's a pyro trap. You want to deactivate those whenever you can. However, I don't have any hydro characters in my party for this one, so that one's going to have to do without. This one, though, is an ancient rune fight. You can tell, obviously, because the rune above the pedestal was red. So this is required for advancement. There are 3 ancient runes per trial that you have to complete that will unlock the final stage, or the final trial, rather. Alright, there's one. So we've got another one just on the other side of this wall, it looks like. You want to keep, like I said, just keep looking up in the air. Try to see where those red beams are at. Yep, there's one here. This is actually where the final trial is. As you can see, it's blocked off at the moment.
Feel this ancient power. Burst forth.
Okay, that's another rune knocked down. We only need one more to go. Where did it go? There it is. Okay. I know in the plunging trial, there actually might be in this trial as well. There might be a challenge where you do not take damage from those traps more than 5 times in a single run.
Animal hypostasis absorption test. Power core. Dragante.
But as I was gonna say, I don't usually use Beto in regular play. Okay, we've got the 3 unlocked. We're gonna go to the final final room here, but playing her in this challenge has really opened my eyes to just how strong of a character she really is. She's actually really fun to play with her counter ability. If you time her E just right, it actually does a counter attack. And you will not receive any of the damage, but it deals massive damage in return. And I think that is just super fun about her kit. And at some point I definitely plan on actually leveling her up and using her. Oh, these ridiculous mages with their shields. Super annoying. I always hate abyss mages.
Come into being. Witness my great undertaking.
Eyes on me.
As you can see there, I hit the E when that exploding orb that these pyro mages do was about to cause damage to me. And so you can see there, it does not require a direct hit. It doesn't have to be like a direct melee physical hit to trigger her counter-attack ability. But that's a quick rundown of the of actually running through one of those trials there. That should unlock my last challenge. Yep, perfect. So up here we got the gameplay tutorial. So we got a little breakdown of basically everything I just said. So there's 3 ancient runes per trial. You have to activate all 3 of these before you can go to the final one down here. The other trials that you can encounter, they're just buffs. They are not required by any means, but if you do decide to do these, they will give you a buff for the remainder of the trial. It's not like a timed buff or anything like that where, okay, I'm going to grab the attack buff and it's going to last 60 seconds. No, it'll last for the remainder of the entire trial. So these can be worth doing. It just depends on what kind of challenge you're trying to complete. If you're trying to get it complete within the time limit of having, where is it? You got to have 6 minutes or more on the clock remaining when you complete it for the healing trial. For the plunging trial, same thing, 6 minutes or more remaining. So anyway, let's get back into the gameplay tutorial here. So the buffs, we got the rejuvenation buff, which is the yellow one, and it will revive your characters in your party should they have perished and restore their HP. Complete the plunder challenge to obtain an attack increase, obviously. Godspeed challenge to gain a movement speed increase, and the everlasting challenge to greatly extend the challenge time remaining. So completing this can definitely be beneficial as well to completing that timed challenge. And so once again, these are the proximity traps. They only activate once you get within a certain range. However, you can use a attack to create a reaction to disable these traps temporarily. So you can use cryo to disable, or cryo and pyro to disable the electro. You can use hydro, you can use electro, and even cryo to disable the fire traps. The hydro traps, I don't think I've ever even encountered any of these yet, but cryo, electro, pyro should all take care of that. And then we've got the pyro, or the cryo trap, which you could disable using electro and pyro. So Geo will not disable any of these, unfortunately. But these are important to look out for, particularly if you're trying to complete that challenge. Let's go right here. The plunging trial does have a challenge. Yeah, do not take more than 5 hits from traps. So some of those traps are planted right next to ancient runes. So you want to make sure you take those out before beginning the trial, and make sure you're paying attention if that trap does reactivate while you're killing the mobs there. I personally don't like the plunging trial. I'm not a big fan of plunging attacks, especially, like, even particularly when they put it in the Spiral Abyss. Plunging attack based challenges and events and buffs were never a thing until Zhao came into the mix, because Zhao's kit allows him to just spam plunging attacks, because when you hit his Q, his elemental burst, he is able to jump very high in the air and do plunging attacks, and he benefits greatly from doing so. Plunging attacks were never a thing until he came into the mix, and as soon as Zhao came on the banner, the Spiral Abyss immediately had nothing but plunging attack buffs for like the next 3 phases. And then it finally skipped a phase, and then it came back for a phase, and it's just ridiculous. And furthermore, it's like, yeah, you got Albedo and Kaching in here to help do some plunging attacks, but it's like, this was obviously built for Zhao, but if they put Zhao in the trial character selection, all of these challenges would be very, very easy to complete. So anyway, we've only got the 2 unlocked for now. The melee trial and the range trial unlocks in 1 day, so we should possibly see those open up tomorrow, I would hope. And then 3 days for the shield and the elemental trial, so we're looking at like Tuesday for those. But that should wrap it up for this one. Excuse me, goodness gracious, talking is hard. Anyway, that should about wrap it up for this video. Hope you guys are enjoying the Battlefront Misty Dungeon. It's kind of fun having just a trial set of characters to pick from. You can't just use your face roll party set up for everything you do, so that makes it kind of fun. You can try out new characters. But anyway, fire off in the comments below if you love it, you hate it, want to see more of it, never want to see it again. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one.